All right, so now we're about ready to make us some gravy. Hey, thanks for checking out my channel. Doing a big, epic, super duper end of the year breakfast. It's January 31st, 2017. Down here in Folly Beach with my dad. Anyway, we done cooked this up. Some bits and pieces of bacon here. I got some ham that I warmed up in another video in this pan from Christmas. That little leftover ham grease is super ready. Make some awesome gravy. Now we took some grease out of this bacon and just the natural stuff that was left over from warming up that ham and some butter in this cast iron pan. So we are ready to make some gravy here. And I got my dad now. He went ahead, just to show you how this gets going. It's super easy. You get your pan. The good, nice, greasy cast iron pan is best. In the little cup over there, we got some grease, some bacon grease, okay? Very key ingredient to making some good gravy. We got some biscuits in the oven, you know what I'm saying? And he's got some whole milk. Don't mess around with that 2% stuff. Just go all in. Go ahead and get you the whole milk, even heavy cream if you can find it. Now that in the glass there is half water, half gravy, or half water, half milk, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So how much gravy is that gonna make?
It's gonna make as much liquid here. It'll be that much gravy. So it'll be 2 cups of gravy.
Okay. And again, it's half, so it was a cup of milk and a cup of water. Okay? For everybody out there doing it up. So now, what are we doing first? Get your pan nice and warm.
Add a little bacon grease here.
Yep.
Not much, but maybe four or 5 tablespoons.
Okay.
And then we're gonna put about a good heaping tablespoon of flour to start with. We can always add a little bit more.
Yeah, that's the thing with gravy. You can always add a little more flour. You can add a little more liquid. You know, this ain't really necessarily a straight up recipe.
I think I'm gonna put about 2 tablespoons.
There you go. Why not?
Yeah. I'm gonna turn up the heat just a little bit to get this brown down. Main thing with making gravy is you gotta keep stirring it.
Oh,
If you
okay.
don't stir it, it'll burn. You just want this a nice brown, easy texture, just like that. It's doing it. Now you gotta start as soon as you get that flour brown a little bit. You gotta start adding a little bit of water,
Or your liquid.
liquid, milk. All right, we're gonna brown that just a little bit. This is gonna be just a little bit of a brown gravy. You can make a white gravy by not browning it as much. Main thing, you gotta keep stirring it though. It will burn in this cast iron pan. That's the good thing about a cast iron pan. It'll cook fast, cook even.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
And
That
you
gravy
can,
about like that.
and you can turn the heat down a little bit on that cast iron because it'll hold it.
Yeah.
You don't want it too hot. You can cook
Okay.
real low on cast
Now we're
iron.
gonna add some liquid, and there we gotta start stirring it.
That's when it's really important to stir, huh?
Yeah, we gotta get it all blended in.
And hey, we're just doing this video in real time just to show you it doesn't, you know, really take that long to make gravy. You know, we're about 3.5 minutes or so into it right now. And this gravy will be done, you know, enough in about another 3 minutes or so.
You don't stir it and keep stirring it, it'll be lumpy.
Yeah.
Mash these lumps down and keep stirring it.
Yeah, it's not that mysterious or that hard. I mean, it might seem difficult at first to make gravy real good, you know, but it's really one of the simplest things to do. But it's also simple to mess it up, right? If you don't mash it down like that, you can mess it up easy,
Once
right?
you get this first little batch mashed down into what looks like mashed potatoes almost, then you can start adding more liquid. And it won't be lumpy.
Yep. And as you can see there, before he added that liquid, you know, you can see the steam evaporating. That's going to reduce the gravy down from that super liquidy state to a more gravy type of, you know, a little more solid, almost, you know, tar or like syrup or molasses type of consistency. And that's what you really want. You want that. Me, myself, I like a good thick gravy on top of that biscuit. Throw a little bit of bacon on there too, maybe even some sriracha. Why not? Ooh, man, it's good. And same thing too. Now you can even take a pause and add your little pepper in there.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna add some pepper and salt.
Yeah.
And I got a little secret that I do with mine that I just like. I put a little onion powder in it because onions is good with anything.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Keeps vampires away too.
That's it.
Or maybe that's garlic.
Yep, that's garlic.
Oh.
But I like garlic too. But seeing how we're gonna just make more southern style, I won't put the garlic.
There you go.
That'd be that Transylvanian style if you put garlic. Now you see this is getting thicker, and when it gets too thick, we're gonna cook it. When it gets too thick, you add a little bit more liquid.
Yep.
Because you want your gravy to be about this consistency right here.
Well, and you can also have a little bit of fun with it. You can take you a piece of bacon.
Yep.
You can start throwing in little pieces like that. Again, we're making this with bacon fat and ham grease. You start throwing them little pieces in there with it, you know. Go ahead and throw some of that pepper in there too.
Yeah. We're gonna add some salt and pepper.
See how it's bubbling up? And again, the pan, well, I'd turn that pan down a little bit.
Yeah.
You got a little bit hot.
Yeah.
I'd turn it down to like a 2 or about 3. No, it'll thicken up still. Remember, cooking with cast iron is different than anything else. It really does heat up a lot. I'm gonna put it down about 3. It'll still be good. It holds that heat really good. You gotta just be, it's such a great thing to cook with cast iron, but you gotta be careful and respect it, not scorch it, you know, or anything like that. And you gotta remember too, when you turn down the heat on cast iron, it's almost like a time delay. You turn it down, it's only gonna cool down about 2 or 3 minutes later, you know, so you gotta really be thoughtful when you're cooking with that cast iron. Oh yeah, so just breaking up a little bit of that bacon, that's gonna make such a big difference in that gravy. Oh, get them little bits and pieces, oh man. It's gonna give the gravy not only a great flavor, but also a big part of any food and culinary experience is how it looks. And having the little bits of bacon and stuff in there is gonna add a really nice bit of color to your gravy. So when you pour it, it's just gonna be very, you know, even more interesting to look at, more appetizing. And hey, let me tell you, all of that psychology too, if you see something that looks a lot more appetizing like that, wow, you're just gonna be anticipating that taste and it's gonna be so much better. Anyway, we're about 8 minutes in. You saw you just poured the last bit of milk and water combination in there.
Okay, and
after spicing it up.
This looks to be like it may be a little bit too thin. So what we're gonna do,
put a little more flour in there.
Put a little bit more flour, but we're gonna mix our flour with the water this time.
Maybe use a different spoon.
And the reason,
than that one,
because we want to
mess up your flour. Well, it wouldn't matter, especially in the old time way. All right, here. How about we just dump a little bit in there?
Yeah, just.
All right. Get it here into the camera. All right. So how much do you want
Put me
to
about a tablespoon.
All right.
There you go.
All right. Hey, why not?
Okay. Now, if I'd have put this flour in there dry, it would have lumped up.
Okay.
So we're gonna mix it with a little bit of water.
Gotcha. That's a
get
good. Yeah.
Get all the flour mixed. That flour is a thicknesser. You could also use cornstarch. Cornstarch is another good thickening agent when you're making gravy.
Yeah.
If it's too thin, you mix cornstarch up with cold water, not hot.
Why not?
Use cold water. If you use hot water, it'll cake up.
Okay.
So you get all the lumps out of this, and now you got a paste of flour.
Yeah.
This could be cornstarch as well.
Right.
Okay. So now we're gonna pour this in, turn that heat up a little bit.
Now, and what you were saying too earlier, just to point this out, he said it wasn't really thick enough. It wasn't that it was thick from a water perspective. It just wasn't thick from the gravy and flour perspective. You know, it wasn't thick enough in that aspect of things. So we're adding that little bit extra flour. You know, you can always add more water to get it back thickened up or make more. But keep in mind, that's going to make more. Adding the flour to your, batch or whatever is going to thicken up what you already got. And then of course you can reduce it down or whatever. But just play around with it. The main thing about gravy and making gravy is, although sometimes there's not a great recipe for it, it's because it's just one of them things you can fool around with, It's kind of hard to mess it up. The worst thing you can do when it comes to making gravy is not making it. Let's just say it that way.
That's it.
And now even that right there would be a servable gravy if you like a thin gravy, okay? Personally, I don't, but there's some things that would call for it, maybe even over some turkey or something like that. If you were gonna do a Southern style white gravy on some open-faced turkey sandwich or something like that, a little bit thinner might be good. But for biscuits and gravy, that's gotta be a little bit thicker. Really sit on top of that biscuit good, okay?
It'll be thicker the more you cook it, renders it down, which boils the water out of it, and the thicker it'll get. If you left it on here long enough, you'd have a burn up pan of gravy. It'd be hard as a brick.
Well, and I got some biscuits in the oven, and
now you can see now it's already starting to get creamier and a little bit thicker. And the more I cook it, the thicker it'll get.
And I got about 2 minutes left on my biscuits.
And that's probably about what it's going to take for the gravy.
So let's put the gravy on the back burner. Okay, let that cast iron pan do its thing. And let's get started on my eggs. Now, hey, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel and all that good stuff. And check out my other videos. I'm going to finish up the eggs on my next video here. And that'll be my epic completion between my biscuits, my bacon and pieces, my ham, and my good gravy right there. Anyway, check those out too.